Hi, I'm Marcela Sulak, and I'm reading to you today from Tel Aviv for the Bridgewater International Virtual Poetry Festival. I am an assistant professor of literature at Bar-Ilan University, and I'm hiding in my bedroom because we're on second lockdown here in Tel Aviv for COVID. I'm reading to you from Mouthful of Seeds, which is a lyric memoir published in 2020 with Black Lawrence Press. They'll be publishing my fourth collection of poetry, City of Sky Papers. I'm going to read to you about potatoes. It's a crown sonnet. I'm going to do excerpts. Other sailor nationals preferred death to eating the spawn of demon witch whores. But the Spanish sailors raided the potato stores Columbus carried back, thereby avoiding scurvy. You have to start somewhere, and this will do since history was created to explain you. Columbus's voyage, to add to the mix, was underwritten by a Spanish salt tax. I'd wanted in this way to document that 200 varieties once grew in Peru, and the Incan Empire created the method of freeze drying by stamping their moisture out, exposing them to sun, those chuño, and letting them freeze and thaw, and then stamping them again. That's how Mrs. Orsak's flabby arms came to plop, eventually, a reconstituted spoon of potato pulp on the square slot of my cafeteria tray at 45 cents a subsidized lunch in Texas, 1979. The potato flakes retain the shine when shaken from their box of the winter Andean skies, under whose supervision freeze-drying was begun. Sublime Incan utensils formed from native clay had eyes, and growing from the eye threads, roots, and from the roots, the heads of gods. They may be viewed in Lima's Museo Larca in subterranean storerooms, loose among the shelves, among the agile O's and tongues of ceramic corpulent couples, whose flexibility of flesh and morals caused many such pots to be smashed by the conquerors, who are mortified, thus rendering this collection all the more important. Tonight, the eyes are cut. My father says to do it. He says that you must cut and let the edges dry, that if you plant when the cut edge is moist, it will rot. I remember how we used to store them in the sand under the house, raised on cement blocks in Texas. How once my mother crawled beneath, edged her hand into the storage box, and agitated a nest of baby rattlesnakes. I don't remember her turning pale or sick. I recall getting whipped with a leather belt after crawling there myself. But then I did not remember how we acquired seed potatoes either. There were none available in Tel Aviv last night, so I bought cooking spuds on Basil Street, wrapped in plastic and oxidized cardboard, not styrofoam, and we cut the eyes and the indentions that look like eyes, gently washing off the black earth and scratching to see what lay beneath. And saving some, too, to eat. The parts clean-shaven, no eyes. The dumb and beautiful skin. Catherine the Great also forbade the peasantry from growing potatoes, then had potatoes planted on her land up to the trees, posted sentries instructed to accept bribery, and that's how the potatoes spread across the Ukraine. Then, 3 times a day for 8 months, Antoine Parmentier, French army pharmacist, was fed only hog's fodder in a Prussian prison. Later, in the gardens of Versailles, he gave Marie Antoinette a papery blossom. The scene makes a pretty prelude to the appetizers, soups, entrees, and desserts he composed, 200 of them, exclusively for potatoes. King Louis XIV and Marie invited nobility to dine. Since peasant cooperation was the aim of this banquet, peasants were forbidden by Parliament to cultivate potatoes. Parmentier planted his behind a wall and instructed his armed guards to accept every bribe and to gift potato blossom nosegays to each bride. I'm roasting new potatoes in their jackets this morning with sprigs of rosemary torn from the neighbor's invasive phalanx of a shrub, and salt from the local sea. To be salted with the salt of the palace is to be in the employ of the king, and for 5 years I've been salted with the salary of Tel Aviv. Sometimes I forget about the sea that every evening swallows its pink, bald sun, where the mouth of the Arcon River joins the port, while on threads along the Park High Arcon, circus performers climb and spin and drop. The river's mouth is probed by a cone of light from the Tel Kudai, a Bronze Age fort guarding this twist in the ancient Via Maris in which I live, between Memphis and Damascus. Thank you for listening.